You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports, we connect the dots. You know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only speak about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. Flying solo today. Welcome back, Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, missing his sidekick.
Yeah, I am. Thank you, Mr. Cotter.
Glad to have you with us. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a finance plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. Although, I don't know if you call this a celebration. Today's National Horror Day. I'm sorry, Horror Movie Day. Well, isn't that called watching USC football this year? Or maybe watching the Rams this year? Seems like just a challenge. Today's National iPod Day. Does anybody have an iPod anymore? I had an iPod way back when. I actually, something, I still have an iPod. I actually still use an iPod. I think that's what they call it. Josh, you're going to have to help me with this one. It's a little tiny square thing made by Apple, and you put it on the, I put it on the back of my swim goggles, and I go swimming, and I can actually listen to music while I'm swimming. Swimming gets a little boring sometimes out there doing laps. So I'll put this little iPod on there, or if I go out kayaking. Okay, well, it is, are we in October in California? I think it was 90 degrees over the weekend. Today is also, okay, wait a second, Josh. You told me that we were celebrating iPod Day, and I'll get to the other one in a minute. National TV Talk Show Host Day. We're kind of a TV show, aren't we? How do you define TV? Right? We got a camera. People are watching us. If you go to the ABC News and Talk, KMET video feed, you see us there. What's the difference?
I think your ratings are higher than the CBS Evening News.
Yeah, and I've got 7 listeners. Okay, so we're going to go back to the previously scheduled programming. Haven't beaten anorexia. Today is National Boston Cream Pie Day. I like Boston cream. Of course, there's not a whole lot of pies that I don't like, but not Boston cream pie. Okay. Okay, yeah, Josh. Okay, it's an iPod Shuffle. You're right. Yeah. Okay, and the Swallows are leaving San Juan Capistrano Day. So I guess if I go down to San Juan Capistrano today after the broadcast, I will not be driving down there with the roof down on my convertible. That might be a problem. Okay, so National Swallows depart San Juan Capistrano. I wonder where they're going. I don't think I'd want to be. Well, I'm
Argentina.
Argentina. Okay.
All the way to Argentina.
All the way to Argentina.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. The Dow Jones, the market's been, what a roller coaster the market's been today. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 8.5 points. The S&P 500 is up almost 16. The NASDAQ is up almost 90. Oil's down $1.43 a barrel. The 10-year Treasury was over 5 earlier this morning. and now it's down to 4.88. 10-year Bund is down a little bit. Italy's down a little bit. Spain is down. Japan is up. I think the first 10 years I did the radio program, the Japan 10-year was either negative or just slightly positive. So you put your money in that 10-year and you didn't even get it back. Now it's all the way up to 0.874. So they're getting a big return. And I'm going to share with you, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do not take this as financial advice. 10-year Treasury from the U.S. is paying 4.876, and there's very little chance of losing your money. Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet right there. 4.876 is not a bad return if you're elderly. Now it's barely keeping up with inflation. And then it depends on what inflation we actually want to look at. Is it the inflation that you and I feel? I was chatting with a restaurant friend of mine, a restaurant owner, on Saturday. His costs have gone up 20%. Do you think those are going back down anytime soon?
You know better than that.
No. So, yet, when we look at the inflation numbers, and I think Friday we get the PCE, that's the Federal Reserve's favored measure of inflation. But when we looked at CPI, if we do a real housing number in there instead of the fake one they've been using, inflation's right around 2.2%. Doesn't feel like that to me. I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel like that. Although the headline inflation is skewed dramatically right now, because look at what's going on here. If we look and see one of the things that every one of us are spending money on, what's probably next to housing, what's probably your biggest expense? Would it be close in saying for most of it, not some of you fancy folks that have the Teslas, but gasoline, right? So we were over $6 a gallon of gasoline just a couple weeks ago. And right now, the statewide average in the state of confusion is $5.44 a gallon, $5.44 a gallon. Nationally, 3.55. Josh, you're down to 4.69. You're up over 5 as well. So you're down almost 10%. Jody's at 4.19. Brittany, we don't even want. Okay, Brittany. She's on part of our team. $3.70 a gallon. $3.70. She's in Colorado. And our tremendous underwriter, Lori, this is $3.09 a gallon. $3.09. Now, yes, you have to go to Louisiana to get it. And I'm not sure anybody wants to go to Louisiana to get gasoline. $3.09, though, I think I would take $3.09 in a heartbeat. Just throwing that out there for you. I would like that number. Tom wants some. Tom, we do a home and finance radio show. Finance is the key word. You want some cash buyers? Okay. We'll see what we can find for you, Tom. But we appreciate you listening to the broadcast. Hey, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Blake and I have talked a lot about investment property over the years. Should we talk about primary property investment? Sounds kind of odd, but November 18th, there's going to be a big change. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Why home prices keep going up? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. RSRNoDebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. RSRNoDebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to RSRNoDebt.com. RSRNoDebt.com.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make that call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% now of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid or points received. They only tell us the actual locked rate. So let's see where they locked at. And again, this is Friday's data. It's not updated this morning. Can't get any closer than Friday. 30-year conforming, 7.776. That was down a little bit. 30-year jumbo, 8.17. Ow! Now that was up. 30-year FHA, 7.491. 30-year USDA, rural areas, generally no down payment, 7.504. And the best loan on the market was down a little bit. Seems kind of odd right now, nowadays, saying down a little bit at 7.433. That is the 30-year VA loan. Let's see what's going on today. S&P 500 is now up 14.5 points. The 10-year Treasury, if my computer screen will update for me, I'll be able to tell you that one is down 4 basis points. It was up about almost 20 basis points higher, almost 0.25% higher earlier this morning. Yes, I have no life, so I do start watching it way before the sun comes up. The mortgage-backed securities are up 8 basis points. Those were down dramatically earlier. I think they've recovered about 37 basis points today. So a lot of changes. It's very wonder, because is there anything else in the world that's volatile right now? Maybe that's what's going on. Well, we've got seasonal inventory build. Redfin reported that new listings are up 1.4%, second largest inventory build since February 2022. But we always see inventory build during this time of year. Two sides of the story, though. On one hand, it can lead to some modest softness in home values, but on the other hand, it can add much-needed inventory, which will translate into more sales. Well, there are certainly be a ton of stories surrounding a 25 to 30% home price declines. Yeah, we've heard that one. What a bunch of malarkey that is. It's important to remember that we always see this inventory build, and the one we're getting the one that we're getting is less than normal. Actually, inventory levels are still near record low levels, and we're seeing demand for what is out there. Redfin also reported that almost 40% of homes went under contract in September, and they're still staying on the market a very, very short period of time. This week, we're going to get new home sales on Wednesday. The first reading of the third quarter GDP comes out on Thursday. Pending home sales on Thursday. And again, the PCE, personal consumption expenditures, comes out on Friday. So we've got a little bit of news coming out this week in the mortgage world. So that is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So over the years, one of the big proponents of building wealth, a big evangelist for building wealth, has been Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100. Does lots of seminars and lots of private consultations with people about how to build wealth. And we know that one of the best places to build wealth is through real estate. But there's an issue going on right now, November 18th, that's might change the game a little bit for a lot of people. Fannie Mae came out and they said in a mortgage letter saying that as of November 18th, they're going to now accept a 5% down payment on 2, 3, and 4 unit homes when you plan on living in them. No, not all of them. You just need to live in one of them. So think about this. You can go on a 4 unit up to almost $1.4 million, Blake, with 5% down.
That's an incredible program.
Do you think that'll open up the doors to people?
Well, it certainly provides many more people with options to start building wealth quicker versus what they have today.
And you think about it, and I'm gonna bring up a calculator here, because whenever I say things on air and I don't look at a calculator, then I come up and get the wrong numbers. But 5% of $1.4 million, that's $70,000.
Yeah, roughly. Mm-hmm, yeah.
And if you're coming up with 20% on a $1 million house in Orange County,
it's $200,000.
It's $200,000, right? So you can get and you can actually use the other units to help you qualify.
That's amazing,
right? Isn't that and building? Talk about building wealth that way.
And even if you have negative cash flow, you can utilize the savings from the down payment to offset that, to give the years enough time for the rents to catch up. Because now your fixed mortgage is, if you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, that's your baseline. And hopefully over time rates will drop. But if they don't, you're at least locked in at the rate you have, and your payment is going to be relatively the same for the next 3 decades.
Right.
Where in renting, it's never the same. Right.
Well, the renting is going to go up over 3 decades.
Exactly.
Right. And your mortgage payment should only go down, right? Either stays the same because you don't have to ever change it,
right?
Or why would you change it? Well, it's because rates went down.
Right.
Right? You get on a rapid refi program and you just set it up right from the day you buy the property. On the rapid refi program, you set up. You say, okay, as soon as my rate drops, or my payment drops 10% and my duration drops 3 years, I want to refi. And tell me what's wrong with that thought.
There's nothing wrong with it. Most people, they follow the patterns that they've witnessed other people do, right? So they start with.
I mean, staying broke.
Well, that's part of it, or they're not giving the guidance early in life to start learning how to invest. And it's never too late. I mean, there are examples of people in their 60s. Absolutely, there's hope. It's small, but it's there.
Minimal hope,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the idea right there. So, get started.
Get started. And with the accessory dwelling units that are available, some of those properties that have, let's say, a fourplex, you might be able, depending on the circumstances, you might be able to convert it to a much higher density unit, depending on the city, depending on the circumstances. And we have an architectural firm that we work with who gives a free evaluation. So there's no cost or obligation if somebody wants to.
I like
look
that.
at their
That
house.
seems like the term for free.
Yeah. Some people want, think that there's a hidden agenda. And,
sure.
We help people all the time who end up not, who decide to do it by themselves.
It's not the right solution for them at that particular time, maybe.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, because you have to be able to explore your options in order to understand what's available.
It's pretty hard to make an educated decision when you're not educated. Right?
That's more than fair.
Right? There's nothing wrong with ignorance, but you don't have to stay that way.
Well, it's interesting. So, in our business, we do what's called a private placement memorandum in our efforts to raise capital so that we can expand. And an attorney I'm working with, he sent me a 19-page document and said, "Here, read this and be ready for your next conversation with me." And I almost hit the delete button and said, "No, I'm not," because I started to read it and I thought, okay, I'm going to have to get out the dictionary because some of the words on this first page, I don't know what they're legal terms that I'm not familiar with.
Right. You're not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. And I said, it's written obviously for lawyers by lawyers. And I'm going to give it my best shot. So what I'm saying is that it can be frustrating. Don't get frustrated. That's why I'm saying no matter how much experience you have, something might trip you up. There are always people with answers, right? And I have sources I could go to get the answers. And you have, as a consumer, you have many sources to go to, people who are willing to help you, who aren't expecting anything in return other than to know that they got the chance to meet you, discuss with you your options. You make your own decision in a non-pressured environment. And that's what we do. We educate for that reason.
That's a great concept right there because so many people think they have to go these things on their own.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And they think, right now especially there's all I don't know why people are so hung up on the thought that commission is bad, profit is bad. Those to me, those are all items that are really good, right? You shouldn't, when you're talking to somebody that's going through and helping you with the private placement, basically they're going to get paid for a service that you don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And the intended consequence there is that it's going to be it's going to be a benefit that it's really not an expense. I mean, I hate when everybody uses a term that, it's an investment. I went and bought gas today and it's an investment. No, that's not an investment. There's no return on that.
Right.
Right. Or, you hear we're going to send $10 billion or $100 billion to Ukraine. That's not an investment.
Mm-mm.
That's an expense. You can't say, okay, what's my ROI on that? No, you can't do that. But when you're going to a professional, a lawyer, an accountant, a realtor, those folks are giving you guidance that you hope to make a return on whatever that guidance is, or do nothing, which is going to save you money.
Well, one thing I like to ask is when you mentioned Ukraine, with any statement that's made about, we have to protect democracy as an example, not to become political. I always want to know, well, when's the next election scheduled for that country if it is a democracy?
Free and fair one.
Right. I just want to know,
Right.
And if they actually have one and they follow through with it, then they're closer to being a democracy than not a democracy. So, I look at, in our country, we have a set date for the presidential election, regardless of what's going on in the world. It happens the same time every 4 years.
Sure.
And so when we look at our investments, we want our investments to be that predictable, if possible,
Sure.
that we know that the return is there. That's why you mentioned the 10-year treasury earlier.
Right.
Is because it's predictable. It's a known. It's a source that many people rely on, and I'm not here to debate the merits of that. What I do know, though, is that you can, with the right investment strategy, outperform those fixed assets based on or fixed money market accounts and those types of things, just off the historical data that you've utilized before in the averages of Orange County appreciating assets in real estate over the 60-year run that they've happened. And because that's compounded, it's not just simple interest like many of the other returns are based on.
That's a big issue right there. We're going to talk more about that, think about this return on investment of a multifamily unit, wherever you are, when you're putting 5% down. If I'm not mistaken, take what the average rate of return is for the area and multiply it times 20. Let's talk about that when we come back. Why home prices keep going up and more. Reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@RonSiegelRadio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Love that app. Track your credit scores, track your bank accounts, asset accounts. 97% of all real estate properties across the country are right there. 97% are right there on the app. And oh yes, you get to track the value of your existing real estate as well. 4 different sources of the value are right there on the app. Why home prices keep going up? If you've ever dreamed of buying your own place or selling your current house to upgrade, you're no stranger to the roller coaster of emotions changing home prices can stir up. It's a tale of financial goals, doubts, and a dash of anxiety that many have been through. But if you're putting off moving because you're worried home prices might drop, make no mistake, they're not going down, my opinion. In fact, it's just the opposite. National data from several sources say they've been going up consistently. If you're watching us on ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed or FM 98.1, you're also seeing a chart. Percentage change in home values. We've got the data from Zillow, Black Knight, and Freddie Mac. Last year, if you look at the beginning of last year, real estate values were going up dramatically. Well, what happens when something goes up dramatically? It slows down. That was the last half of last year. Now we're seeing prices going up this year a little bit more in line with what they've been doing in the past. First half 2022, home prices rose significantly. That's again, if you're watching us, green bars on the left side of the graph. Those increases were dramatic and unsustainable. So in the second half of the year, prices went through a correction, started dropping a bit. That's the red lines in the graph. But those slight declines were shallow and short-lived. Still, the media really focused on those drops in their headlines. And that created a lot of fear and uncertainty among consumers. But here's what hasn't been covered fully. So far in 2023, prices are going up once again, but this time at a more normal pace. And after price gains that were too high and then the corrections that followed in 2022, the fact that all 3 reports show more normal or typical price appreciation this year is good news for the housing market. See, the senior economist at Zillow, and I can't pronounce the name, explains changing home prices over the past 12 months this way, quote, the U.S. housing market has surged over the past year after temporary hiccup from July of 2022 to January 2023. That downturn has proven to be short-lived as housing has rebounded impressively so far in 2023, unquote. Looking ahead, home price appreciation typically starts to ease up this time of year. As that happens, there's some risk the media will confuse slowing price growth, deceleration of appreciation, with home prices falling, which is depreciation. Don't be fooled. Slower price growth is still growth. Why are home prices increasing now? One reason why home prices are going back up is because there still aren't enough homes for sale for all the people who want a roof over their head. Coleman is not what they want. Even though higher mortgage rates cause buyer demand to moderate, they also cause the supply of available homes to go down. That's because a mortgage rate lock-in effect. When rates rise, some homeowners are reluctant to sell and lose their current low mortgage rates just to take on a higher one for their next home. So with higher mortgage rates impacting both buyers and sellers, the supply and demand equation of housing market has been affected. But since there are still more people who want to purchase homes than there are homes available to buy, prices continue to rise. As Freddie Mac states, quote, while rising interest rates have reduced affordability and therefore demand, they have also reduced supply through the mortgage rate lock-in effect. Overall, it appears the reduction in supply has outweighed the decrease in demand. Thus, house prices have started to increase, unquote. Here's how this impacts you. Buyers, if you've been waiting to buy a home because you're afraid its value might drop, knowing that home prices have gone back up should make you feel better. Buying a home gives you a chance to own something that usually becomes more valuable over time. Sellers, if you've been holding off on selling your house because you are worried about how changing home prices would impact its value, it could be a smart move to work with a real estate agent and put your house on the market. You don't have to wait any longer because most recent data indicates home prices have turned in your favor. Bottom line, if you put off moving because you're worried that home prices might go down, data shows they're increasing across the country. Give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. If you're thinking about selling or buying a new house and you're worried, am I going to find something new? And what am I going to do if I sell my house? It's called a transition loan at Geneva Financial. They've got it. You can get the cash out of your existing property before you sell it, buy your new property, then sell your departing property. Give me a call and I'll explain it to you. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, is with us. Blake, you had a stat that I heard you mention, I don't know, last week or the week before. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Something about how many houses were available in Orange County prior to, and I don't want you to get to the exact number.
No, this is a good conversation. I can do this one.
Okay.
You didn't even tell me to do my homework, but I can do this.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, we wonder sometimes.
Yeah. There's the music I need.
There we go. So there was, houses available for sale, pre-pandemic roughly,
Yeah.
and now.
Well, that's an interesting, thing to study because in the years 2017 to 2019, the average number of homes on the market this time of year was about 6,300.
Orange County,
When
California.
we're talking about Orange County, and we're talking about all types of homes, but from townhomes to
No, it's
single families
2017 through
2019. In the 3 years, the average
Okay.
was about
the
6,300.
non-unicorn years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, the pre-unicorn years.
Exactly. And then, of course, coming out of the pandemic right now, we've in 2023, post-pandemic, we're experiencing depending on the data sources you're looking at, it shows that there's between 1,700 to 2,400 roughly homes on the market in Orange County. And I think the 1,700 one's only referencing actually single-family homes and doesn't count the attached. But I was trying to find that differential. But the point is that inventory is running about a third of what it was prior to.
Yeah, if you look at 1,700, you're basically talking about 25%, and if you look at 2,400, you're talking about 35%. So right in that range.
Either way, it's not enough to meet the
drop.
demand and to meet the current demand. I mean, there are said to be a balanced market in Orange County, as an example, would be somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 properties on the market, because you're talking about every kind of price range. So for most people, anything over $2 million is not even something they would consider or be able to afford. So
even those pre-pandemic, pre-unicorn years, we were still low even then.
We were low, and the headlines at that time were that we were more in a seller's market than we were in a buyer's market. And we know historically, if you go back to the quick data when it first started in 88, 87, 88, 89, that there were months.
Some of us aren't that old.
Well, no, but the data is available
okay.
though. That you can see that there were actually as many as 6,000 to 6,500 properties a month selling in Orange County, with a population of about 2 million people, and interest rates were about what they are today. So actually a little higher than today.
And I think we've got about 3 million people in Orange County now.
Yeah, exactly. And so I always go back to, yes, prices have risen, and they're going to continue. There's going to be upward pressure on pricing because of the competition for the few properties that come on. I want you to think about going to the grocery store, and you walk into Vons, let's say, or Stater Brothers, whatever your favorite grocery store is, or even the Costco, and you look and you go,
99 cent only for those of us in the mortgage world.
Only one in every 4 or 5 rows has merchandise on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's kind of where we are in the housing market. So when there's buyers looking at properties that are available, they're probably scratching their head and going, how come this is all there is? And I always define a seller's market by, if you go down the street and it's a street by street seller's market, right? Or buyer's market. Because if a street has 5 listings on it, it's definitely a buyer's market.
Sure.
But on that street, but if there's one or no signs, it's definitely a seller's market. If there's if there's 2 signs, it's a balanced market. And if there's 3 signs, it's definitely becoming a buyer's market on that street or in that neighborhood.
Which is all that matters.
Because all real estate is local. So
Who cares if the national number
Yeah.
is that it's a buyer's market?
Yeah, we
Doesn't
only
matter.
use it for data just to understand what the average consumer is seeing in their living rooms, reading in their newspapers, or reading online, because that impacts their impressions on what they're about to do, because they might be making a judgment based off of a housing stat they saw for Phoenix, Arizona, which has little or nothing to do with what we're experiencing here.
I want to throw something at you, Blake, and we never prepare for our broadcasts as far as what Blake and I are
that's
gonna
usually
talk
obvious,
about.
but
Exactly, and that's why we have our theme song.
Right. But we have fun anyways.
So think about this concept. Like, in Orange County, we have some manufacturing, not a lot of manufacturing.
That's true.
It's a heavy service area.
Yes.
So a service area would lead us to believe that, if a company moves out of the area, the employees move. It's not like you're the strawberry farms that can't move, right? So if a company moves out of the area, the employees move out of the area. Company moves into the area, they need their staffing in the area. When we had the unicorn years in the pandemic, people were able to move and work remotely. Now they're coming back into wherever their companies are. Do you think that has any effect with our shortfall here?
It could. I mean, I think everything's possible, but it's interesting how certain segments of the Southern California real estate market have appreciated and out-appreciated, let's say, Orange County, because you go out to, let's say, the corridor along the 60 or the 15 heading north into past Rancho Cucamonga, where all of these big industrial parks are being built, or warehouse areas, and you see these massive mile-long warehouses that are there for distribution, so the employers are taking the thousands of people who might have otherwise come to Orange County in the past or into LA. They're now living out in areas like Fontana, Moreno Valley, and they're close to the places where they can work, where they couldn't find jobs out there before.
Yeah, they didn't like the idea of spending an hour and a half a day on the 91 freeway or the 10
Right.
Interesting information. We're going to continue our conversation with Blake Vartanian when we come back. We've got a little bit. I'll probably do a little bit of borrow smart, although Josh is going to look at me like I'm nuts, which he usually does. But you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit RSRNoDebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, RSRNoDebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. RSRNoDebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to RSRNoDebt.com. RSRNoDebt.com. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report and it is wrong. Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. And as frequently happens, I talk too much. So I'm just going to tell you the method of getting out of debt. And I just saw this morning, or heard this morning as I was coming into the studio. We have hit all-time highs, or not all-time. We've now gone over 6% on defaults of subprime auto loans, which is a leading indicator of where the economy is going. The people that have to go subprime to get an auto loan, and they can't make the payment on them. So what's happening? If you've got equity in your property, rsr2step.com, rsr2step.com, you can double your mortgage rate in the example we show you and still gain over $600,000 in net worth. Double your mortgage rate, gain that net worth. Now, if you don't have equity in your property, this one, I just set this up this morning. I haven't finished getting it all done, hopefully by airtime. RSR Debt Set. RSR Debt Set, DEBTSET, Debt Set. That's a new an affiliation that we have. No, I don't own the company. Debt consolidation loans or debt settlement. So I've got that opportunity as well. RSRDebtSet.com. And we'll hook that up so you can actually get a copy of the video that we did on that program. So that's the Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Continue our conversation. Blake Vartanian is with us, Realty Pro 100, chatting about methods of helping people. And I love to help people. Good morning, Linda Eisenman. Glad to have you with us. Great real estate professional. Now, we go to the Linda Eisenman Squared. So got her in North Orange County and the Coachella Valley. So glad to have you with us this morning. So we're talking about building net worth. And Blake, I think in the first segment I teased this and we never got back to it. If you're buying a multifamily with 5% down, and Orange County, California is over 5% appreciation for the last 60 years. I think it's 5.35 the last I looked. 5% down on that, it means you're going to get 20 times your capital as your return.
That's true.
20 times your capital and it's 5% appreciation. That means your capital, your cash investment doubles every year. Did I miss that? Is that right?
It's hard to find a better investment.
And you don't have to have the you don't have a Coleman tent. You have got a roof over your head. Didn't mean to get you choked up like that, Blake.
It's like, wow, I never really thought about it in all these years. And that's before tax, any kind of tax benefits or anything like that. So,
right.
So real estate has always received some type of preferential tax treatment.
Sure.
And oftentimes,
we're not giving tax advice.
No, we're not. We're not. You have to you get to seek the professional guidance. But the point is that
we can tell people the questions.
Yeah. And you need to look at it, right? You need to understand it. And so, one of your frequent guests, Alton Moore, who you introduced me to, he's our CPA, and we didn't know him before you introduced him to us, and he does trust and probate, and he's also a CPA, and he's become our firm's CPA. He's my personal CPA now, and my CPA retired, my longtime 20-year CPA retired. And so
It happens when we get old, Blake.
it happens, right? I mean, I look at, I'll be 65 in April, and I met Linda more than a week or two ago, and whenever I know that Linda's listening, I'm always in just sheer respect and admiration for the career that she has forged for herself, because she has such a great reputation among all of her colleagues who know her. And it's just something that we all hope to leave the stage one day, having done great work. And I'm grateful to see that Linda keeps, bringing the practices and the traditions of our profession so that the next generation can understand how to do it the right way, and probably do it, more efficiently, because we can teach the next generation how to do it without making the same mistakes and trials and tribulations that we went through.
That's an interesting thought right there, because Linda's been on the program many times.
Yes.
And we talk about the fact that every transaction has some sort of speed bumps in it.
Absolutely.
And as you get more and more, I'm going to use the term seasoned,
Yeah.
right? You just understand how to navigate those speed bumps.
It's amazing how your anxiety level can be calmed through the years when you have the knowledge and the expertise of knowing who to turn to, who you can rely on, and that you've seen these issues many times before, and for that client, it may be the first time they've gone through it. It's like we had recently a situation. I'll just say real quick, we had a situation with a foreclosure that was happening last week. Was the sale date. And the clients in escrow, the sellers, were not getting along with each other, and they were pushing up against their own. They were basically acting not in their own best interest, and they were pushing the sale date with their lack of cooperation with each other. And our agent responsibly and respectfully worked them through the process, along with our escrow officer, Judy, who does an amazing job, to make sure that the transaction closed on time, because they had a lot of equity they could have lost by playing chicken with the bank.
Something, and you brought up a good point there, because it's not an individual, right? Hypothetically say, and I know you don't do this, but hypothetically say you're the realtor in the transaction.
Right.
It's not an issue that you know how to do everything.
No.
You know a lot, and you've got a lot of experience, but you also know the other players to bring into the transaction. You mentioned Judy. You might need somebody at an escrow, at a title company.
Yeah.
You might need to reach out to Alton as an attorney and a CPA. You might need to go to a bankruptcy attorney, to put a little pressure on. But those people, so you can bring in a whole team.
Well, I was fortunate to have come into the real estate business the same time that Ronald Reagan was becoming president of the United States.
Wow!
And so I go way back then, right?
So you're not going to take my youth and hold my youth against me.
No, but they asked him. How, you're not the smartest guy in the world. How, something similar to this.
Right.
How do you do it? And he goes, well, I always surround myself with at least 5 people who know way more than I do.
Right.
And I thought, well, there you go. In our profession, we don't have to know everything, because we can spend our entire lives just reading, the DRE requirements, reading the requirements of a mortgage, how to qualify, which that changes from week to week. So you're going to drive yourself nuts. So why not rely on the experts who actually are, charged with getting that part of the job done?
Which takes us to the other part of it. I know I've got less than a minute left. Is how do you do that if you're trying to do the transaction on your own? Right?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
And only like once every 5 or 10 years,
right?
You have no idea.
I never hear anybody mention the concept in the real estate profession. I never hear anybody in the real estate profession come back. Linda, it's not that we've made your day, it's that you've earned everything we said.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you.
Yeah.
So we don't hear it in the real estate profession, but I'm sure you've heard in the legal world that any lawyer that represents himself has a fool for a client, right?
So true.
But we don't say that in real estate.
No, we don't.
Well, maybe you should. Just think about that. Hey, as always, if you have one question, you want to know about multifamily investing, you want to talk to Blake about that, give me a call. I'll put you in touch. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.